everyone. Well, thank you and welcome. And I want to start off by asking you please to open your phones, take out your camera and aim it at the QR code that you have here, just so that you have this survey for when we're done with this. And also in case you need to drop off before we finish today, and I won't hold you over, I'll keep to my time limit. But just in case something happens, it'd be great if you would just take that QR code and have it ready for yourselves at the end of this presentation. Appreciate that. So welcome to the power of managing email using lean principles. And my name is Michael Hoffman. And besides being the CEO of LeanMail, I've been collaborating with leaders as an executive coach for over 18 years. And I just got back from El Camino de Santiago, where I took 5 leaders on this trip, as I do twice a year. It was an amazing time. So a little bit tired. Now that I'm back, we did 120 kilometers in 5 days. So everybody's pretty tired today.
By road, you mean?
Walking. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So it's walking and coaching. So one-on-one coaching, and we take turns. And what's really amazing about this, I won't spend too much time here, but what's really amazing about it is the naturalness of people kind of talking with each other, having coaching sessions with me. Sometimes it's 40 minutes, sometimes it's 2.5 hours. So we can really get into depth. Every day, we're actually with each other for 6 days. It's so amazing. I can't say enough about it, but we're here for LeanMail. So let me jump in. The LeanMail method and add-in was developed after I studied Lean quite exhaustively and researching every possible solution using Outlook without any kind of external modifications. And like many of you, I felt I needed some way to reconfigure Outlook. And I tinkered and I tinkered and I tinkered for years, changing things. And back then, many years ago, this was over 20 years ago, you had actually more possibilities of doing things in the background with Outlook. But in any event, none of that really worked. And I realized that tinkering would not be the viable solution. And I think to some degree, that's why everyone's here today. You're thinking, so what does Michael Hoffman know that I haven't already tried? In a nutshell, you'll learn why you haven't been able to reach the same level of productivity and organization in your inbox that you achieve in other areas of your work. And then I'll show you how surprisingly simple it is if we just add a few targeted features to Outlook. And the best part is that you get to choose which tools that fit your specific needs. That means that although we offer several modules, you don't have to take all the modules, and you don't have to pay for all the modules either. And I'm asking you to just give this 45 minutes or so, and if it sparks some ideas or even looks a little bit helpful, remember there's zero commitment until you've been trained in a first free session, which would be the next step after this. So if you think, oh, this is interesting, then you would come to training for 90 minutes, and you would be trained in this, and you're probably going to wonder why you need any training at all after I present this, but you do. I promise you do. Otherwise, we wouldn't offer the training. So this is not going to be your typical webinar, because first of all, I love the fact that you're all sharing your video with me. That's really important so that I can talk face to face to you. And also it means that you guys can talk to each other, ask each other questions, ask me questions. So let's make it a dialogue between us all. And to that end, let's not make this a wait until the end kind of presentation. Interrupt me at all times. I'd much rather have a great conversation than finish my slide deck, okay? So, any questions up to now?
Michael, can we record this session?
It's being recorded for you.
Oh,
Not
okay.
only is it recorded for you, but I'm a big fan of AI. So you will get everything outlined with direct connection to the place in the video, so that it'll be really easy to get to those nuggets that you want to get back to and remember.
You are using Copilot?
I'm not using Copilot. I'm using Fathom. I'm not going to say it's better than Copilot.
Okay. That's okay.
I'm not going to
because
say
some
it's
people
not.
couldn't join the session. They
Yeah.
ask for a recording. So
Yeah, I think they'll appreciate the notes that I'll send. No problems.
right.
So, and pardon me, I'm just going to shut my window. There's a little bit of traffic. It's getting to be rush hour now. So this is an actual picture of my little dashboard in Outlook when I came in this morning after being a week away from my inbox. And you're probably wondering, only 312 mails, and you've been a week away? Well, I of course deleted all the junk that was obvious junk from my inbox during the week on a daily basis. But this was what was left at 9. And there you see in my prioritized view, which shows you all the new mails that have come in. By 9:01, and much before 9:01 actually, this inbox was reduced to 87 mails due to one of my tools called Inbox 480. And Inbox 480 simply separates the wheat from the chaff. It goes through my inbox and looks for the things that are not on my VIP list. So that's not core work. That means that my airline points, it means my bank stuff, it means some marketing, things that I don't want to call spam because I do want to receive those things every now and then, but I just don't want it mingled with the rest of my important mails so that I can always get to what's important and not worry about the mails that are not so important. So there it was, less than a minute in, and now I'm down to 87 mails. Okay. And there is Inbox 480 at work there. At 9:29, I had now deleted, prioritized, and archived those 87 mails, and that took less than 5 minutes to do. And then I planned and did some emails to get to 3 mails that I needed to do today. I did a bunch of easy mails, but there were 3 mails that required a little bit of work, so they were in my today view for today. And you'll see in the all view to the right of that the other mails that I have to do, but they are not due today. They're due at later dates. So between 9 and 9:29 today, I was back in shape after being away for a week. That's what you can expect from this. Imagine how little time you need per day then. And I get well over 100 mails a day, probably more like 150. So as we move through the session, you should be keeping 3 things in mind. And the first one is, will this give you a transformative improvement over your method today? And that means it can't be just a little bit better. It has to, for you to put the energy into learning something new, into adopting something new, it has to at least appear transformative. And the second thing is, you've got to see this as being simple to operate right from the start. If it's not simple to operate and complicated and convoluted, then you're probably not going to want to try this. And the third thing is, well, it better be easy to get back to my old way if I don't like it. And this is the part I'm going to say, I guarantee that, because we couldn't work with Fortune 500 companies if it wasn't really quick. As a matter of fact, in less than 2 minutes, you're back to your old way. And we'll help you do that if you need to do that. You could do it yourself, and we give you the directions, but we're also happy to help you get online. Okay. So as I mentioned, I've studied a great deal of Lean in order to create this model, and I'm going to introduce you, for those who are not Lean experts or even familiar with Lean, don't worry. It's not a prerequisite to understand Lean, to understand LeanMail. It's just a nice bonus, right? So Lean is all about maximizing output and with minimizing the effort. And I apologize to all the Lean Six Sigma black belts here today. I'm gonna make Lean seem like it's a very simple, narrow-minded thing, but only because we don't have so much time to get involved with all the intricacies of Lean. Lean is a world, right? And I'm going to crunch it down to 30 seconds. So please bear with me. One of the three main pillars is to identify value. So in email management, this means that recognizing that some mails are far more important than others, right? So take a moment to consider, how do you ensure that the most valuable mails receive your priority? And what about emails that aren't urgent but still need to be addressed? How do you handle those? Think about what you're doing today in order to handle them. The second pillar to Lean is removing waste. So whether you're an Outlook beginner or you're a seasoned expert, there's room to remove between 20 and 60% of all the unnecessary steps in email processing for you, right? I don't care if you think you're really, really great at email. We're going to remove probably 20 to 60% of all the work you're doing. And I'm not just talking about deleting mails. Think about the time and energy you spend scanning your inbox, right? Moving emails to tasks or jotting things down, whatever it is that you do. There's a lot of waste there. And the third pillar is continuous improvement. Something that I don't have to tell you about, Marco. So the question is, do you feel like you've improved significantly at managing your email than you did a year ago, right? Does anybody want to share with us today the major advances that they've made in transforming their inbox over the past year? Did somebody have an aha moment where everything changed for them? Probably not. Okay, so many of us have been trying for years to optimize our Outlook performance, yet we often feel like there must be a better way, and there's really no major breakthroughs. And I'm going to explain why in just a moment. And the first thing you need to know is that it's not you. So let's be clear about that. If you're here today, you obviously have a strong interest in improving how you manage your inbox, and it's likely that you've tried many, many different methods to do so. And in the room, we have directors and senior directors and global directors. So the chances that the issue is a lack of personal intellectual ability, let's just say, is about as likely as a solar eclipse on your birthday while you're holding a winning lottery ticket, meaning that it's highly improbable that it's you. And the reality is that no one has really cracked the code when it comes to email management. And if there were some magical feature or perfect set of tools that solve the challenge, number one, you'd probably share that in your company. And at least one of the 400 million Outlook users probably would have let the cat out of the bag as well. So it's either not out there, or maybe there's some grand conspiracy. Well, today it's not so hard to believe in conspiracies, but let's find out what's really, really going on here. Okay. And I want you to consider my premise that it is not you and that it is simply a lack of functionality. The lack of functionality is the culprit that is holding you back to being more efficient. And to illustrate this, I'm going to draw a comparison between the evolution of the automobile technology and Microsoft Outlook. And I'm going to highlight just how outdated our approach to email management has become and continues to be. So over the past 20 years, there has been a lot happening with Mercedes. Just to give you an example, and we've gone from cassette decks to MP3s to streaming, right? So all of that has taken place in the last 20 years. And GPS is a lot better now, right? Look at this old-fashioned GPS. Back then, in 2005, that was like the most amazing thing to have that built into your car. In 2025 now, look where we are, full autonomy. You can literally drive down a highway in Germany and not even touch the wheel, right? That's legal now. not yet in the States. Although my brother takes these, I don't know what they're called, but these taxis in California, driverless taxis. So that's also possible. But look now, let's take a look at Outlook during those same years. So in 2005, you had the folders on the left, and then you had your emails in the center, and then you had the message panel on the right, the reading panel on the right. Now, in 2025, they put the folders on the left and the emails in the center, and then they had, well, I guess it's pretty much the same. Nothing has changed. Really. We had rules back then too, by the way. We had pretty much everything we have today, and still no improvements for how we function in our inbox. It looks a little bit better today. There are some small improvements, but nothing that helps us become more productive. So this is my premise for why things are not working as they should. And I'm just going to go through some of the challenges that we have today. I won't spend a lot of time here. I'm going to run through this because I think we all know this. We all know that there's a lot of volume. We know that it's very difficult to manage our priorities because we can't say, I'm going to put all my high priorities at the top of my list. Can't do that. And then you have planning. And how do you plan? Nobody's really planning in their inbox, spending loads of time. How is your responsiveness? Do you get back to people when you promise to get back to them? What about that wonderful search engine that Outlook has? Not really great, is it? Then, of course, there's a lot of stress from that, and you create new systems to try to manage all of this, but you still find that you're running on this hamster wheel. Right? Is there anything else that somebody would like to add to this? I think I covered most of it, but you know, it's really difficult to manage all of this, and needlessly so, which I'm going to illustrate here today. So what we're doing is we're doing workarounds, and we all know that a workaround is a temporary solution, right? It's not meant to fix the problem for good, but there is no for good solution. And I'll give you a few of the workarounds that people are using so we can all see that we're all doing these same workarounds. For instance, the big one, marking a mail as unread. I mean, so many people, more than 80% of Outlook users are doing that workaround. And it kind of looks like this, where you're clicking on it, you think, okay, I'm going to need to do that, and you're clicking on a different one, and then, oh, did I click on that one, or did I not read it? And then it's really ridiculous what we're doing here. And it was never intended to be that way, but we just get lost with that. So then we get some ideas about creating folders, and you make all these different folders, and then you think, oh, I forgot about that folder. I put all my important things in that folder, and then you're using reminders, and then you, of course, snooze them when they arrive because you're in the middle of something. Rules are great. We use rules as well. No problems there. But it doesn't actually make you more productive, does it? It just puts the work in a different place. And if you're putting things in folders using rules because you just need to put them in folders, you got to think, why am I doing that stuff? Then you might open up mails at the bottom of your screen just so you don't forget to do those mails, and then Outlook crashes, and then you've lost those, and all kinds of things like that. Some people understand that you can drag mails, like, this is a little tip here. You can take a mail from your inbox and drag it to your task icon, drop it, and it creates a task. Right? So that's a cool one. But again, now we're getting more complicated. You can do that with your calendar as well, but really you shouldn't put emails in your calendar. Your calendar is for specific dates, and I'm not going to coach you on that, but I would say that it's a really big mistake to put emails in your calendar, especially since quite often you forget to get to that one, and then it stays on that date forever. A lot of people are going to Teams Planner. And Planner's a great tool, but all that work for every single email, there's no way you're going to be consistently doing that. Some people make notes in Excel sheets. They'll make handwritten notes, a lot, by the way, or they'll make Post-it notes and put them all over their screen. All kinds of things we're doing. Well, Now you're going to find out why we're getting all these awards. And the main reason is because we only do 2 steps when we're working with email. We make it so darn easy. At the same time, you're going to have to do those 2 steps for sure if you want to follow this method. But the good news is it's only 2 steps. First step is prioritize. And this is a triage mode that we put you in. And all you're doing is deleting or archiving your mails when they come in. And if there are mails that you need to do something about, then you mark them as either being a high or a normal priority. There is no low priority, by the way. Low priority, you don't have time for. So it's either high priority or normal priority, according to Pareto principle, which I'll get into a little bit later on. The second step, now imagine you've deleted the stuff that you don't need. You've archived the things that just need to be stored away. And now you have high priority and normal priority in your inbox sorted. So now we go to planning, okay, because priority is one thing, urgency is another thing. So we're going to need a matrix. And I'm sure you've all read the Covey matrix of important and urgent and all of that. So we do the same thing here. Really easy to write in a next action. I'm going to show you that later on. And also we follow the 2-minute rule. Why bother with all of this if you can just do it in 2 minutes? Just do it right away. So we don't want to add any extra work with our methodology. We're just going to make this as efficient as possible. And you'll also put a deadline on a mail when you want to see that next, right? I don't want to see this mail for the next 2 weeks because I can't do anything about it, and I don't want to keep looking at it in my inbox. That's the thinking. Okay. So once you start following this process, you'll stop watching TV in your inbox. And what do I mean about watching TV? I mean, what people are normally doing is they're scanning their inbox like a teenager at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for something fun to watch. Right? That's basically what we're doing. There's no process to that. There's no ability to make a process with that. And so that's why we introduce this decision-making machine called LeanMail. And I'm not going to get into all the buttons and all that stuff, and there isn't really a lot here. But I do want to point out that here's our guarantee to you, that every mail will be acted upon at the right time. That doesn't mean immediately. That means at the right time, when it should be acted upon in the right order. Missing a T. We should find archived mails instantly, like this. You're looking for something, you should be able to find it instantly instead of using all this search, getting a ream of suggestions of where to find it. No, I want to see that now where it is without having to do search. You've got to make it impossible to be late or to miss an email. No more of that. No more disappointing your customers or your colleagues. Reduce the email clutter and end each day with inbox 0. I know there are a lot of companies that say, oh, with my method you can reach inbox 0. I've never seen it happen without putting in an amazing amount of work. That just is not going to cut it for us because we're busy. So just as I don't have to tell you what that top word is, intuitively we all understand that there's a natural order to doing things, and whether that's getting ready for bed or washing the dishes or managing email. We know how to do these steps, or they've been driven into us by our mothers. So I'm going to ask for a volunteer, and who would like to be my guinea pig for today? Anybody? Just scream out first and hurry. Time's wasting.
Look, I can be a guinea pig today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pavel. Pavel, I would
so
like
I think nobody can get worse with email management than I, so that's...
Well, you're not even going to have to do email. You're going to have to do getting ready for bed.
Okay.
So all I want you to do is take a look at this order here, and I want you to reorder it, right? So you have sleep, eat dinner, brush teeth, set the alarm. I probably wouldn't do it this way. How would you do it? What's the intuitive way of doing this, Pavel? What's number 1?
Eat dinner.
Thank you. Number 2.
I would probably, the sleep will be last one, then set alarm before, and then brush teeth will be third. Second will be set alarm, brush teeth, and sleep.
Okay. Okay, I suppose you do it that way, but I'm going to say brush teeth, set alarm, and then sleep. All right,
Yeah.
maybe I'm a little bit weird in that way. So that's pretty natural, even if we might switch the two, brush teeth and set alarm, pretty natural stuff. Now, I want to show you something a little bit more complicated. Now, Pavel, you're going to have to use a little bit more brain power, but not too much, right? So we have act upon high priority tasks due today. Get an overview and organize tasks by urgency and importance. That's the triage, right? Act upon important tasks due in the future that you can't respond to today. And finally, act upon tasks due today that are not as important but urgent. Now, these are in the wrong order. So I'm going to ask you to decide what the first one you would, if you were going to do this, what's the first one that you would do?
I'll start with the second one.
Get an overview, right? Why wouldn't you get it? I mean, you couldn't do your mails without, I mean, you couldn't do this without having an overview, right?
Yeah,
you see what was important and urgent. What do you think is the second thing you should do?
The first one?
Yeah. Act upon high priority tasks due today.
Yeah.
Right? Just makes sense. What's the third one?
The third one, which is the third one.
Act upon tasks due today that are not as important but urgent.
Right. I didn't want to do it at all, but okay, fine. Yeah.
And lastly, of course, is act upon important tasks due in the future that you can't respond to today. Ladies and gentlemen, that covers all email. There is no more to email than that. Right? So we all understand that this is, I don't have to teach you this. I don't have to teach you LeanMail because it just follows something very intuitive like this. All you need is something that allows you to work this way, right? Because you already get this. So how would you, sorry, I made a typo today. I just realized that when I look at this, I was reviewing my slides. How would you reorder these activities, right? Here's the problem. It's sorted by arrival time. How does that help you? Not. It's nothing to do with your priorities, nothing to do with your urgencies, right? Let's say it's very possible that your new Facebook friend is at the top of the list and your $1 million contract is even below the list, right? And you can't do anything about that except for, you know, start messing around with folders and everything, but you have no dashboard to be able to do that. And if you think about the old days, when we had analog mail, you could do it then, right? You put the junk in one pile, you put the stuff to file in another pile, you put the, well, you are all too young to remember this, but I remember it very well. And then you were left with the stuff to do and the important and urgent. And what would you start off with? Certainly not the stuff to file, not even to do. You'd go directly to the important and urgent, and we can't do that today. So we've got a digital tool that doesn't even allow us to do the most simple things, right? We follow the 80-20 rule, and you've probably heard of Pareto principle, right? So that means that 80% of your result is coming from 20% of what you do. So, or rather, 20% of what you do accounts for 80% of your outcomes. Take a look at that. Why wouldn't we spend our most important moments getting that 80% done, never dropping that ball, right? So it's the same thing in your inbox. 20% of your mails really matter, whereas 80%, they're trivial. If you lost all those mails, it wouldn't matter, right? But you simply can't miss anything in your 20%. So wouldn't it be great if we put the 20% at the top of your inbox just by clicking buttons and put the 80% below that, have nothing else in your inbox, no waste, no saved emails for a rainy day, and no ambiguity, meaning you get it, you understand where the most important things and where the stuff that just needs to get done at some point are. Now you're saying, but Michael, new mails are coming in all the time in my inbox. How do I deal with that? Well, even though it's locked in place here, we can still go to the prioritize view and prioritize those. So they go into those piles. So every once in a while, you'll go into your prioritize view, click on a few buttons. By the way, this is not adding any time to your process, because remember, when you're looking through your emails, aren't you going from mail to mail, clicking away in your inbox and not adding any value? In this case, you're still going from mail to mail, but you're adding value by deciding on a priority. And I think I can get there we go. So quick to answer mails, they're done, because you're not going to bother with anything if you can get rid of it right away. There's no waste. Your mails are now sorted in order of importance, and all mails have been previewed. So how is AI going to put in your brain what's going on? Right? A lot of people will say to me, well, AI can probably figure out the priorities of this, but at some point you have to really know about that mail from David and what he's talking about. So it is super important that you get an overview of your inbox. This, what I've just shown you, is done by a tool called LeanMail Prioritize. If you just want this, you can just have this. If you want the rest I'm going to show you, you can have those too. But what I'm saying is it's modularized so that you can choose. Now, I've just shown you how to ensure that your mails are in priority order. There's a problem here. Let me just skip this because, okay, here's the problem. Here's what's going on in your head. Oh, this one's not so important. It can wait until Friday. Oh, this is really important. But I can't do it until next week because I'm on El Camino. I just want to have this information in front of me for the meeting tomorrow. Aren't those the things that come into your head? So what it says is that we all have different, it's not just about priority, it's about urgency as well. And every mail has a level of urgency. Some mails are really important, like the ones, oh, if I don't get this in today, I'm cooked. Or I really need to get this in today because it'll bring so much more value to my customer if I can make it. Right? So they all have different levels of urgency. And here's the challenge. They're all spread throughout your inbox. Now this is, I'm showing you 200 mails. You've probably never seen a screen with 200 mails before, but this is what it looks like. And these are just the ones that are really important and I'm showing you the urgency of each one. But if you put in a bunch of other mails, it starts to get even more complex. And really, you just want to know what you need to do. Right? Somebody tell me what I need to do first today. Wouldn't it be nice if you had a robot or AI that could just say, Michael, do this, right? Beatrice, do this. Do this now. This is the mail that you should do right now. Put everything aside and do this. Well, we thought about that. And we said, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could just put a button called Today at the top? So we put a button there. And then we added some functionality. So when we clicked on that button, we would see only the mails that I needed to do today. Of course, it'll show the stuff that if I forgot to do it yesterday, it'll still show up here. But here they all are, right? So, oh, and since we're going to mess around with some software, we decided to put in next actions so that you could take a little note about what this is about so that you could avoid rereading the mail 6 to 8 times, which is what people do on average. That's just the average. A lot of people read more than that. And by the way, we made it so that you could even see groupings of emails, right? So I can see that there are a bunch of mails that I need to talk to EB about, and they're all grouped together. Right? Now, I've combined this with the previous module of prioritization. So now, not only do I see what I need to do today, but it's in priority order. This is LeanMail. So we have real-time feedback from our customers. So we're training all the time, and we update the response from our training. These are the 3 major KPIs that we go by 42% less. This is years of customers reporting into us. 42% less time spent on email, 59% greater control than what they had before, and 94% are recommending LeanMail. So before I get to all this, the rest of it, let's jump to a demo. This is going to be a really short, quick demo, but I think you need to see it. I think you want to see it. What is this all about? So I'm simply going to prioritize these mails first. Now, I'm not going to delete anything because I need the mails for the demo, but I would normally be prioritizing and deleting and archiving. So you'll see up here the little
Michael, quick question. Sorry, do you also work on the new Outlook? Because I see it's toggle off.
No, because the new Outlook is the browser version. But don't worry, everybody hates the new Outlook because all the features are gone. And there's no reason that you need to move to the new Outlook because it's going to be years before they make that mandatory. And by then, we will have the new Outlook. So no need to worry about that.
I'm not talking about the browser. I'm talking about the desktop version, new Outlook for Office 365.
Yeah, this is the latest version of Outlook. What you are talking about is the browser version. If you've toggled this to try the new Outlook, you're actually working off of a browser, not your software.
All right.
Yeah. So if we look here now, I'm simply going to prioritize these, and I'm thinking 80-20. I'm thinking, okay, I can only have maybe a couple of very high priority mails. Of course, if it's high priority, you put it high priority, but you try to manage it in a way where you're not giving too many reds, because otherwise you don't have a priority system, right? So I'm going to prioritize them now, and notice how they disappear. And I have the reading pane here in order to guide me, but basically when I look who it's from and the subject line, and these are all demo mails, so don't worry about the type on them. I can basically get a pretty good idea of what's important, and it goes very fast. Typically, I'm doing 20 mails per minute when I'm prioritizing. And you can see it would be, you can imagine in your mind's eye that this would be pretty quick and easy. Okay, so I then end up, let's say, with 5 mails that need a next action and a when date. So because I've done a couple of mails but it's all prioritized now. So now I'm going to put in a next action, and I'll put that for today. And this one as well. And I'll put this for tomorrow. And notice, by the way, I'm just writing tomorrow and today. I could easily, instead of putting today, I could just put 26. Right? Or I could say in 2 days. Doesn't matter what I put there. I can say 2 days before Christmas. Right? So it'll understand anything. And if you say something like soon, oh, it doesn't like that one, right? So it'll tell you. But let's put this for tomorrow. Okay, and then and basically I just read through the email and decide if I can do it right away using 2-minute rule, I'll do that. But if not, I'll simply write in the next action. And so I'll put this for today as well. And this one for, I'll put this for Friday. So I'll just write Friday. And by the way, I'm not even taking my hands off the keyboard, right? There's no mousing around here. Everything is done from your keyboard. So it's so blistering fast once you start to get used to that. Okay, and then finally, one more next action, and we'll put this for tomorrow. There we are. I did not change it to today. It changed it to today. So what you're seeing here is a continuous flow from prioritize to plan to today. It's pulling you forward. It's a Kanban method. Okay. Now, I take a look at my next actions, and everything is due today. That means they're all urgent. here are my top priorities. These two here, these are the ones that I simply can't go home without taking care of. And here are the rest. Notice also that the ones for Daniela are together here. So when I have my meeting with her, I don't have to go looking. Well, it's not a lot to look through, right? And it never will be, by the way. You're not going to have more than, let's say, 20 mails in your inbox at a time, or you're doing something wrong, right? So here it is. I have high mails, normal mails, and a personal mail, right? You can also, if you like, make a little task in here. Hey, you know what? I don't want to forget the milk. So remember, nope, put it in here, automatically creates the next action, automatically assigns it a post-it note, which is a task. And if you say, well, you know what, it's really important, I want to bring it up to my high importance, drag and drop. And maybe I say, oh, well, actually, Capterra is also really important. I'll drag that up here as well. Really easy. Let's look at all the mails. Now we're comparing what's going on. Here's today, here's tomorrow, and in the future, right? And I see here, you know what? I'm going to speak with Beatrice tomorrow. I'm going to bring her up here. And notice it pops exactly where it should. Anybody else that should be different here? Oh, yeah, look at the valley. You know what? I'm going to put this here. Anything else? Oh, Alessio. Well, actually, I have to keep that one here because here I'm going to compliment his performance in the meeting. And then here I'm going to close the deal. It's a little bit of kidding. But you get the point. You can plan for the first time. You can plan your emails. Right? Now I'm going to go back to, this is too daunting for me. So I'm going to go back to today. Here it is, guys. Are you going to reread these mails? You might replan them, and I might say, you know what? These 3 mails I want to put for 2 days from now. I'm going to move those 2 days. Now, I'm not showing you any of the other buttons. There's a whole bunch of stuff here that I could show you that goes on in the training and so on. But I think you get an idea of what we're talking about here. I think you're seeing a transformation. Okay.
Exciting, Michael. So what are the next steps?
So the next step is a risk-free trial. So you simply try it out. You come to a session. You don't like it, we don't invoice you. We'll train you. And if you say, Michael, it was neat, but it's not really my cup of tea, no problem. Thank you very much for trying it out.
So
now,
Michael, sorry,
yes.
if you can ask one thing. So you did a manual, let me say, categorization of your email, right? There's no
prioritization.
Prioritization. So there's no an automatic tool that prioritizes your email and put them in the tomorrow. Or is this something manually? Correct? Am I correct?
Just imagine. Imagine you met somebody at lunch today, and you had a great conversation, and they sent you an email. What is AI going to do with that, right? And here's the thing: there's nobody more into AI than I am. I mean, I'm just constantly looking for different tools. The things that we do in email, you cannot do with AI yet, and probably not for another several years. Okay, because it's not about the wonderful things that we do use AI for, like writing our mails for us, or suggesting what we should say, or looking for the questions. All those things you can still use, but it's not going to tell you how to prioritize your mails. I mean, Copilot does not do that. It's not going to tell you what your next action is. It's not going to help you not reread emails. Right? So I understand your desire to have those tools. It's going to be a while. It has to know. It has to understand you universally to make those suggestions. And by the way, I'm very happy with you telling me, well, Michael, there's this new tool that blah, blah, blah. Please, I'm very open, and I'll incorporate everything I can into this. Right, so please feel free to let me know. Does that kind of answer your question there?
Yes, you answered my question. So
right.
I think that is a great tool, and is very easy to use it. Of course, tomorrow you have to have time for what you have not done today, plus what we have to do tomorrow. Otherwise, it's continuously increase your workload from one day to another. So it means that it's not a magic tool. Sooner or later, you need to take care, right?
So just to be clear on that, you will get very good at understanding how much time you need to spend on emails. And typically, the first time you start to train with us, you think you can do so much more than you can. But over time, you'll recognize that, and you'll stop loading yourself up. And so you'll be very careful with, okay, I have 15 mails that I've put for today. Wow. And I only have 1 hour to do email, and plus I'm going to get lots more. So which ones should I put off until next week? It's simple decision making that you've never been able to do before, and you will hone your skills continuously to get there, right? So you're right, it's not a magic tool, but it allows you to use your brain and to train yourself into understanding how much you can do at a time, what's important, what's not. Use Pareto principle, all those things that you've been learning in other disciplines in your life, but now you can apply that to email and win, right?
Yeah.
So if you decide to go forward, there's another 90-minute training, and then finally there's a 60-minute final training, but more about coaching and making sure that you're using the right tools, you're getting what you want. After that, continuous help. We get online with anybody that needs us. It's not an email sending you advice. You can actually get online with a trainer and ask questions and say, I don't understand this and that. Can you help me improve this? We will absolutely get online with you and help you with that. That's part of our service. Okay.